Hi guys, how's it going? Antonin here. So we're back this week. So I'm Antonin, your certified sommelier, expect reviewer for foreign wine and non-foreign wine, which means something that will probably come out of your own country. So we're back this week with a brand new tasting. I decided to pop out something a little bit special. I say that every week. So this week I'm presenting to you something different, Georgian per se. So this is I'm gonna try to pronounce this right. So Khvanchkara, which is a late harvest, semi-sweet red wine from Georgia. So this is actually a wine, it's definitely a little bit of a specialty, especially for anybody in the wine industry really into your classic Italian, French wine regions like Piemonte or Burgundy or the Rhone or any of those types of region. This will definitely fall out of that pattern per se, and especially as far as the grapes goes, all this sort of Caucasian area, part of the world. So that includes Armenia, Georgia, except for a few international varieties that have made it there. It's mostly, I was gonna say, indigenous varieties. So here for that, I'll give you a bit of example. So here for that bottle, so we're looking at Mujuretuli and Aleksandrouli, which is right here on my notes. So just so I don't get this wrong. So these actually, I feel like it's interesting because especially in the world of today where a lot of international varieties, you see a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon or Riesling or things like that. I think those varieties, especially within good hands, within good winemaking hands, might lead to just great potential for those wines. Georgia has been a winemaking country actually for a little while. Just in case you didn't know, they're known for actually having produced for the longest known country that had viticulture in the roots, which means winemaking has been part of family traditions. People have been making wine in their family, whether it's commercially, but most of the time non-commercially. Georgia, just as Armenia and other countries in that part of the world, have been part of the Soviet Union. And ever since all this ended back in 1991, I'd say a lot of the wine industry has changed, which means a lot of people actually be able to make wine, quality wine, as opposed to just quantity, which was actually some of the things that the Soviet Union was sometimes requesting and demanding to put out on the market. Speaking of which, let's jump into our review. Color-wise, I would say this is a clear, lighter side of ruby, a little bit of lighter garnet, but mostly rubyish. This is also something I forgot to mention. Sorry, this is 2015. Let's get on the nose. This is the kind of nose that I got. So a lot of that, actually, I get a little bit of fruit, which is what it's coming out first, but also I get those kind of those port-like aromas. For those familiar with Amarones, that's sort of dried, raisiny, you know, like those berries that have been hanging on those vines for a little too long. Not that it's a bad thing, it was on purpose, especially as you start letting those berries ripen and just mature up a little more. You get those sort of really a little more cooked, jammy aromas, and I get actually quite a bit of that in this wine. It's not overwhelming per se, but it's definitely there. It's definitely like a defining part of this wine. I do get a little bit of that earthiness to it. A bit of a smoky bacon, leather, those kind of aromas with still a little bit of fruit left, but it's definitely on the jammier, raisiny side, but not too much of it. I wouldn't call it port. 12%, so pretty light if you compare it to other red wines. Let's get on the palate. Yeah, so I get the same. First thing that hits me on the palate is cooked, jammed, stewed fruits to it. If you were to take a bunch of strawberries, put them in the oven, take them out, I don't know what the purpose of doing that would be, but this is kind of the same similar flavor that I got out of this. A bit of leather, a bit of tobacco, pipe tobacco on the palate. Nice acidity, touch of tannins, but you can barely taste it. It's very mild. For a 12% red wine, I wouldn't quite call it a red wine, so that's what I kind of chilled it and put it in the fridge, because it's actually sort of those white wines actually treat as a white wine because it's semi-sweet, because it has less tannins, because it's probably, even though it can age, because a little more residual sugar, I would say this can age, but still this is to be treated as a white wine. So don't think of it as a red beef, high tannins, those kind of things, because this will not give you this, but this could definitely pair with a nice little fruit salad. Yeah, anything like this will work magic. Anyways, this is good. It's nice. It's cool. So I think this kind of wraps it up for this week's review. And thank you guys for sticking around. And that's about it. So I wish you guys a good week, and we'll wind this up again. So peace out.